Thank you for coming here and to see and listen what I have to say. First of all, the work what we do, trying to find new chapters for the history and very often also rewrite the history, that work would have no meaning at all if there wasn't the possibility to tell about it to wider audience. So that's why I'm really, really happy to be here and really happy to see so many faces who are interested to hear. So the story what I'm going to tell today is actually very, very sad. It's a chapter of history that we all wished that never happened. In a way, it's very peculiar also because it's not widely known. So very, very few people know about this. The biggest tragedy of all times in the maritime history during the wartime and during the Second World War. Okay, I think we have an old version of the presentation here, so I have to just jump quite many times now. Or is it possible to change the presentation still? Okay, I just go and jump. There were just some images of different kind of disasters and the memorial of those disasters. The one what we are talking about here is the Soviet Tallinn evacuation, where we had human losses of 16,000. And this happened in one day. So in one day, 16,000 people lost their lives during one evacuation. This is a map of the situation during the Second World War in 1939 and then 1941. So 39 and beginning of 40, the Soviet Union was occupying the Baltic states. And then in 1941, the Germans started the actions in the Soviet Union, and they were entering to the Baltic states. And actually what happened was that the capital city of Estonia, Tallinn, got bottled up, including the Red Banner Baltic fleet. So there were a lot of Red Banner vessels there, not only military vessels, but also transportation vessels. So altogether, 230 ships were gathered in Tallinn harbor late August 1941. They had to flee because the Germans were coming, they were surrounding Tallinn already, and they were coming and they were knocking on the doors of Tallinn already. The Germans have their artillery already around Tallinn city, and they were bombarding the harbor. Also, Luftwaffe sent their bombers there to destroy the ships in the harbor. And what we know is about 1,000 people lost their lives already in the harbor before the evacuation started. So before this, in late August 1994, the Finnish and German Navy laid 20 minefields within the Gulf of Finland, because they knew that the Soviet Navy and the Soviet Army has to return back to Soviet Union from Tallinn, and they had no other way to do that than to sail with the ships. There are a lot of documents in the Finnish archives showing how and where the minefields were laid. And you can see from there that there was about 2,000 German EMC mines and about 660 explosive buoys sat in a very tight mine barrier. And here's a German map of the minefields in the Gulf of Finland, late August 1941. And up in the middle, you can see the area what we are talking about. It's called Juminda Mine Barrier. We can see Tallinn here and Leningrad here. So they have to flee through this very tight minefield to get the ships and the persons, which were about 40,000 people, back to Soviet Union. And this is the minefield itself, which is called Juminda Mine Barrier. It has, as said, about 2,000 mines in it and 660 explosive buoys. And this was the plan for the Soviets, how they would take those ships through the minefield. And as you can see, it actually goes right through the minefield. They knew about these mines, but they still had no choice other than go through it. Of course, they had minesweepers, and they hoped that the minesweepers would cut off the mines in front of the convoys. They had 4 convoys where all these 230 ships were divided. This is very rare image of the actual happenings when a Luftwaffe bomber is bombing these transport ships in Juminda Mine Barrier. So these ships were loaded of people. Some of them had thousands of people, some of them hundreds of people. So this one day, which was the 28th of August 1941, was a horrible, horrible day for very, very many people. 40,000 people, as I said. There is no stories from the German archives about the happenings during this day and the evacuation of the Soviet fleet. Well, you can find something, but they are not really keen to tell any hero stories of the Second World War in general. And in the Russian archives, there are not that many open sources either about the happening. After the war, nobody was talking about this because, and this is the real reason why, nobody was proud about it. Of course, the Germans were not proud about anything what they did during the Second World War, and the Russians, the Soviet Union, Stalin just didn't want to talk about it because it was a great loss also for them. So that's why this whole happening has been like a secret chapter in the Second World War. The other image here, this is a Finnish torpedo boat, and the crew is on the deck watching, and this has been written down on a diary. They were watching when the ships exploded in front of their eyes and the bodies were just flying through the air. So the Finnish Navy were shocked about the situation. Of course, they were also there to lay the mines, but they probably didn't really believe that the Soviets would actually go and try to go through the minefield. This ship is very famous in Estonia. It's called Vironia. And this ship was carrying the whole Red Army office, which was located in Tallinn, including the photographers, reporters, dancers, orchestra, all kind of people who were working for the military office and their families. So Vironia hit first a mine which was tangled on its own paravane, and then afterwards hit 2 more mines. Also the Luftwaffe was bombarding it, and finally it sank. So there were about 1,500 people on board. This ship is not found yet. Some of the ships, because they were also recruited Estonians and prisoners on board, some of those ships just sailed directly to the shore of Estonia or the shore of Finland, just to escape from the convoy. And those who survived, some of them were drifted to the villages in Finland's side. They were walking in the villages there, frightened and absolutely devastated. So the Estonians were taking care of the local people, and the Russians were arrested. All this happened exactly 80 years ago in front of our home waters. And somewhere in the beginning of 2000, I just read about this happening, and I thought that, well, I have to do something. I need to search the wrecks, which were more than 60 wrecks, approximately could be even 100 wrecks. And I would like to document them and then identify also, so that we could have an understanding what happened, where did they sink, and how everything was going on during that one day. So what my company is otherwise doing is mainly archaeological inventories, excavations of wrecks for the cultural heritage boards. But this project is just because my own interest, so nobody's really paying anything about it, and I could not be able to do it without a very dedicated team. Sometimes when you search for a wreck, it may take weeks, even months to find one. In Juminda, when you are finding a mine row so that you can see the mine weights, you just follow the mine row and you can see that, okay, there's a wreck. Oh, there's another wreck. And you can see that there are some debris around, and you just go forward on the mine row, and then more debris, and okay, a 3rd wreck, a 4th wreck, and so on. So this is very exceptional. That's 5th wreck already in very short distance. And sometimes these wrecks are actually laying on top of each other. Sometimes you can even identify the wrecks just based on the side scan sonar image. So this is a Submarine L2. But sometimes you can't just do that directly from the side scan sonar image, so it needs more, which means that we need to dive there and take some documentation. So what I have done is that I have put on a map the wrecks that I found, that's about 40 wrecks, and together with those which the Maritime Administration in Estonia has found, and then I laid on top of that the minefield charts. And this is really giving an idea to me where those wrecks are laid and on which mine rows they exist. So just to take some examples of the wrecks that we actually have found and also documented and then finally identified. This is Yakov Sverdlov, which is called the first one of the Novik class ships. And it was the fastest ship on Earth before the First World War. It had 37 knot maximum speed. It served during the First World War in every action in the Baltic Sea and during the Second World War. It was also taking part of the battles. So this was one of those destroyers, 5 destroyers that sank during the Tallinn evacuation. So the side scan sonar image already shows some details of the Novik class destroyer. This is the aft part of it, and you can see the 3 big guns on the aft deck. And Jeff was just telling that the visibility in the Great Lakes is 60 meters, or on some of the lakes. Well, we have the same figure, but we can say that it's 60 centimeters. So you're not going to see really wonderful photos. And I will show you later on why. Anyway, with this ship, we actually found the name in the aft. It says Yakov Sverdlov in Cyrillic letters, and also there is the ensign of the Soviet Union. So somebody has asked me that how can I come and dive those wrecks? And I just tell you that you don't want to, because the visibility is not the greatest one. You don't know what to expect when you go there. There might be trolling nets, other items that you could be tangled on, and in a way, you are always thinking about it. Where the heck am I? Where are the others? And how can I find back to the shot line? But still, we do the video filming to capture those details, and we try to get as much as possible of those. There should be a video. No? Can we get the video out from here? No? Okay, we just go forward. So as you can see, it's limited visibility, but still with the video you can capture some details which are the base for the identification. Another example is Saturn, which is a rescue vessel, and this one was towing Vironia when Vironia had hit first time the mine. But unfortunately, then also this rescue vessel hit the mine and sank. So I hope I can get this video running here. Yeah? No? Can you get the video running from there? This is what we checked yesterday, and it worked. Okay, well, you can not always win. Anyway, this is actually the wreck which has the best visibility of all the wrecks that we've been diving there, and that's because the depth is only 70 meters or 75 meters, and it's on top of a hard bottom. Most of the wrecks are in 100 meters depth, and the visibility is really, really low. This is K-21 or 21K gun, which is assembled on all the Soviet vessels, including the submarines. So this was also on the deck on this rescue vessel, although most of the guns it had was water guns, because it was a rescue vessel. This is one of the wrecks that we actually found and identified this year. And the identification is for sure 100% sure, because the plate of the shipping company was found, and the picture there shows the plate, which is telling the name of the ship and the construction year. So that's one of those kind of identification that we got quite neatly. Again, Luga, a huge trader that sank. This was identified this year, and based on the details on the video, we could say that this certainly is Luga. There are several other ships that was found earlier but identified this year, and there are still quite a lot those ships that sank that are not found yet. So we have at least 20 ships that has not been found, and we have found already more than 40. So you can imagine that there are so many wrecks that it cannot be done during my lifetime to dive them all and identify them all. So there will be plenty of wrecks for the coming divers also. I don't know, can you get this video running there? Oh, well, this is a wreck that we saw in the side-scan sonar image and thought that this could be a submarine. But when coming down to the ship, we saw immediately that this is not a submarine because of the huge propellers. And then we also saw that there are some ventiles, some windows on the hull, and soon it became clear that this is one of the destroyers called Kalinin that sank also during the evacuation. It's quite, as you can see, there is that kind of white milky stuff also in the water. Of course, it's pitch dark there, but with the lights we can get something out of that. Okay. One detail on the side of the wreck is this. Kalinin was burning before it sank. It burned 1 hour on the surface. And of course the crew tried to do everything to survive. So this is a gas mask which one of the crew members were using before Kalinin eventually sank. So I'm going to jump these wrecks that we have been doing this year and the previous years, just filming them, identifying them, and come to this image, which is the memorial of this tragedy. It is a lonely stone in front of the Cape Juminda, half in the water, just the date of the evacuation. And my wish is that something else would be telling the story to the coming generations than only this lonely stone in the water. As said, nothing could have been done without a very dedicated team, and actually we have 3 of the persons being in the team here. Can you stand up, please? Jenny, Sami, and Laura. Thank you very much. So hopefully this gave you some idea how this tragedy happened exactly 80 years ago. Thank you.